This presentation is based off of the findings and analyzations of Mrs. Dalloway in my research paper titled The Metaphorical Importance of Nautical and Bird-like Images in Virginia Woolf's Mrs. Dalloway. The thesis and focus of my research was that Virginia Woolf's usage of literary devices such as imagery and metaphor provide deeper emotional conventions that can be interpreted as the mirror image to her personal life. In Mrs. Dalloway, Woolf focuses on nautical and bird-like descriptions as a way to provide tangible meanings to uncertainty and freedom. By pairing such images with Clarissa Dalloway and Septimus Warren Smith, Woolf is alluding to the struggles she faced in real life. Virginia Woolf was born on January 25, 1882, in London. She was born into a family of intellectuals, the desire to learn coming from her parents. Woolf's passion for reading and writing grew as she entered adolescence, but darker experiences also followed her into adulthood. Woolf struggled with severe anxiety and depression. Writing became an outlet for her to express herself. On March 28, 1941, the haunting thoughts became too much, and Woolf walked into the River Ouse with a large rock in her pocket and drowned. Woolf writes Mrs. Dalloway through a stream of consciousness, which, as explained in a handbook to literature, is the style of writing that follows a flow of words, images, and ideas similar to the unorganized flow of the mind. Along with the stream of consciousness, Woolf uses images and metaphors throughout her writing. A metaphor is a representative figure of speech that is used to express the relationship of two objects in a way to contextualize a deeper emotion. Clarissa Dalloway and Septimus Warren Smith became the central figures of my research. While analyzing their characters, I began to see connections not only between them, but also with Woolf herself. Woolf places pieces of herself and her mental struggles within her characters through the usage of metaphor and descriptive imagery. The thought processes of Woolf can be seen within the stream of consciousness of her characters, especially that of Clarissa and Septimus and Mrs. Dalloway. While analyzing the text, I came across three nautical images that stood out. Water can be seen as a negative or positive image depending on the context. The stillness of a pond or the surging rapids of a waterfall can invoke a sense of peace or fear. While reading through the stream of consciousness of Septimus, water provides a negative, eerie emotion to metaphorically represent inner turmoil. Positive examples of water are seen at the opening of the novel, when Clarissa describes the morning as fresh as if issued to children on the beach, and when Peter compares Clarissa's physical appearance at the party to a mermaid. This is the example from Septimus's stream of consciousness that describes inner turmoil with nautical images. There are positive and negative descriptions in this example, but the overall emotion is frightful. Septimus describes himself as a drowned sailor who struggles to keep his head above the surging waves. But he himself remained high on his rock, like a drowned sailor on a rock. I leant over the edge of the boat and fell down, he thought. I went under the sea. I have been dead and yet am now alive. But let me rest still, he begged. The sleeper feels himself drawing to the shores of life, so he felt himself drawing towards life. The sun growing hotter, cries sounding louder, something tremendous about to happen. Septimus's life is a constant battle with the unknown as he floats between a healthy state of mind and madness. Every time Septimus feels as though he is getting better, his health plummets as the anxiety, depression, and post-traumatic stress take over once again. The extensive deep details of this image suggest that Woolf understood Septimus on an emotional and psychological level, as she also struggled with mental health. Along with nautical images, I came across numerous bird-like images while analyzing Mrs. Dalloway. The two examples I focused on presented birds as a way to describe the attitude and movements of a character. Birds are a metaphorical representation of freedom and feeling trapped. Birds can easily spread their wings and fly away, but they can also as easily be captured and trapped within the wires of a cage. As with the nautical images, these bird-like images can be seen in a negative and positive light depending on the context. This is the example given through Septimus's stream of consciousness where he describes Riza. He could feel her mind, like a bird, falling from branch to branch and always alighting, quite rightly. He could follow her mind as she sat there in one of those loose, lax poses that came to her naturally, and, if he should say anything, at once she smiled, like a bird alighting with all its claws firm upon the bow. This is a positive image as Septimus is comparing Riza to a bird as she can learn to fly again despite the situation. This attention to Riza's ability to bounce back during difficult times and find a sense of freedom acknowledges that Septimus is thinking about the past, present, and future. The image of Riza through Septimus's stream of consciousness provides a deeper understanding of Septimus's emotional process and view of Riza. By using nautical and bird-like images and metaphors, Woolf is providing tangible meaning to uncertainty and freedom. Clarissa and Septimus represent the two paths Woolf could have taken in her own life. The paralleling plots of Clarissa and Septimus swirl together as water would. Although the characters' paths do not cross physically in Mrs. Dalloway, their stories interlock metaphorically with similar images. In this final example, Woolf provides nautical and bird-like images to express the paralleling plots between Clarissa, Septimus, and herself. There was in the depths of her heart an awful fear. Even now, quite often if Richard had not been there reading the Times, so that she could crouch like a bird and gradually revive, send roaring up that immeasurable delight, rubbing stick to stick, one thing with another, she must have perished. She had escaped, but that young man had killed himself. Clarissa had escaped the dangerous waters of her anxieties and was given the opportunity to fly away, free, while Septimus had not. The thought of suicide had been on Clarissa's mind, but unlike Septimus, she had not gone through with it. Clarissa and Septimus represent the two paths Woolf could have taken in real life. In the end, Woolf could not be revived like Clarissa, and found herself trapped like Septimus under the surging waves. In conclusion, Woolf's Mrs. Dalloway contextualizes the inner turmoil surrounding the freedoms and uncertainties of life. The streams of consciousness of Clarissa and Septimus can be indirectly reflected in Woolf's real life, as each character represents a different life path Woolf could have taken. By using such metaphors, Woolf is making abstract emotions tangible, contextualizing the uncertainties of life and the concept of freedom.